This is another Whole Health America presentation of the Practice 911 series, how to transform your time-sucking, underperforming practice and put more money in your pocket. Practices, especially medical and chiropractic practices that don't utilize nutrition, are missing a tremendous opportunity. Nutrition gives your practice the 4 R's, which are results, referrals, reputation, and remuneration. And many practices don't utilize nutrition at all, and they have excuses like the doctor doesn't feel he has the skills or she has the skills. They don't feel like they have the time to do nutrition. And the big one is insurance doesn't cover it. And actually, insurance not covering it is the reason you should be doing nutrition. If you look at successful practices, the thing that sets them apart mostly is results in their reputation. The doctor is getting people better, and that generates referrals. That's the ultimate way to grow a practice. Obviously, if your practice isn't in that state, you need to market a bit, and we're going to talk about that. I want to address chiropractors right now. You know, chiropractors talk a lot about treating visceral complaints with what's known as a somatovisceral effect. In other words, you adjust a spinal segment, you affect the nervous system, and that there in turn affects the viscera, the organ. You might be curious to know what percentage of patients with indigestion would respond to an adjustment. And JMPT did a study of that and found it was only about 24%. The thing is, with utilizing nutrition, you get a visceral somato effect. In other words, you're chemically targeting the organ and helping along your adjustment. Okay, so something like indigestion, if you use some sensible nutrition, your results go closer to 100%. So what's going to build your practice better? 100% results or 24% results? I think the answer is obvious. And natural healthcare becomes very important when you realize that we have a $2.5 trillion healthcare cost annually. Okay, that means that $1 in every 6 of our economy goes into healthcare. And as our health costs increase and service decrease, chiropractic offices can offer real solutions to patients not being helped by the existing system. And actually, that's not just chiropractic, acupuncturists, medical doctors that do natural health care, nutritionists, other kinds of practitioners can be the solution to this problem. Can actually be the phoenix that rises from the ashes, because our healthcare system is in trouble. Many docs don't feel that they have the skills to utilize nutrition. They feel like they need to know more chemistry, more nutrition, more about vitamins, minerals, and herbs, things like that. And I blame nutrition seminars, because whenever someone presents a nutrition seminar, they present the case that their problem case, which they're very proud of, and it was tricky to fix, you know. So if you're not utilizing nutrition in your practice, stop thinking of the fibromyalgia patient with candida and mercury toxicity, or, you know, the exotic things. You can actually live by picking the low-hanging fruit. Most Americans are sick because of lifestyle choices, basic nutritional deficiency, and inflammation. If you look at Weston Price's book, Nutrition and Physical Degeneration, you can see what changes in diet do to health. It's really worthwhile. He has pictures of people who ethnically are the same, those living in primitive conditions away from Western civilization, and those that are immersed in Western civilization. And his pictures are striking. Weston Price was a dentist. So good, simple, basic nutrition will yield gratifying results. Pottinger's Cats is another book that's worth getting. You can see generation by generation how the health degenerates in cats based on poor diet, lack of raw foods, and so on. And this means that simply fixing the diet, simply addressing the diet with whole foods, will give you amazing results. And if you're a chiropractor doing adjustments, getting that somatovisceral effect, you'll get very gratifying results just with something very simple. Another excuse used by docs is that they don't have time to do nutritional consultations with their patients. But the fact is, if you do a turnkey approach, realizing that 10% of what you know fixes 90% of the problems, it's a good idea. You can automatically get your patient base into good diet, just with the simple use of handouts and promotional materials within the office, to where you don't have to talk to people a lot or do a lot of fine-tuning, except for your more difficult cases. And this is important even if you know a lot of nutrition, because you may be spending way more time than you need to addressing minutia in a patient that really just needs to change their diet or really just needs some basic supplementation. Remember, 10% of what you know fixes 90% of the problems. I mean, more than 66% of Americans are overweight or obese. So simple lifestyle changes can transform their lives, and that can be done with the use of handouts. Take very little of your time. The other excuse that docs use is that insurance doesn't cover it. They somehow feel that patients will not pay out of pocket for health. But you have to realize more than 60% of all Americans take supplements, and they pay cash for them. And they do it without any advice, and they do it without any knowledge of the quality of the supplements they're taking. So creating a nutritional practice actually creates a cash practice within your office if you do take nutrition, or if you do take insurance. And insurance, really, it's like getting a good seat on the sun deck on the Titanic. Coverages are going down all the time. Those of you who take insurance can probably attest to that. Experts are pegging wellness as the next trillion-dollar industry, and this presents you and your practice with a great opportunity. You can increase revenue from existing patients, improve results, which is very important because that ultimately builds your reputation. You'll generate referrals, and you can market to the public and get new patients based on your wellness program. However, your first and best place to market is within your own office. The fact of the matter, if you come up with a good approach to deal with inflammation and nutritional deficiency, you're going to help most of your patients. The key is to be consistent and focus on offering solutions to chronic conditions in your office. In other words, address this in every patient. So if you have someone with a backache who also happens to have asthma, you might mention some lifestyle changes. You might mention some basic nutrition. Think of your office as a place for wellness and addressing chronic conditions and not a center for bones and backaches. So if you have a simple nutritional program, a turnkey approach that basically can be given to every patient in your office, okay, offering nutrition in your practice does not have to be complicated. You want to pick the low-hanging fruit. And like I say, most Americans are sick because of lifestyle choices and nutritional deficiency and inflammation. And you can do that automatically on almost everybody. And it's easy. We even have a report that provides a basic diet for you. You can write one yourself, very easy to do. You want to do it with handouts, okay? And if you want, from a marketing perspective, you might want to put that report on Facebook and have people go to your Facebook page and download it. That will create referral activity for your office. All of your marketing should focus on single specific conditions. Okay, and your wellness program will easily improve results. You want to work smarter, not harder. So your wellness program should have 5 components that will help everybody. You want to have a basic diet. You can use a handout for that. A good multivitamin, essential fatty acids, a probiotic, and vitamin D, especially in northern climates, is a common deficiency. So there are 5 components that will basically help everybody. We're mentioning biotics for a couple of reasons. The products are very high quality. Also, if you do get into those complicated cases and you're not used to dealing in nutrition, biotics representatives are very well trained in nutrition and can help you. And not from a, we're going to sell you another pill kind of a thing, but an actual background in nutrition. So you give them this result. We call it the anti-inflammation diet, eat your way out of pain. Biodemulsion, Pro Multi Plus, multiple vitamin, Biodoff 7 Plus, which is a probiotic, and optimal EFA capsules. If you do that for every patient in your office, your results will improve tremendously. Okay, now we're going to address people that, docs that may need to improve their income, improve their patient load. We talk a little bit about marketing. Obviously, you're in business to heal people, but you're also in business to stay in business and to make a living, so this is worth mentioning. One of the first things we want to talk about is that it's easier to market to people who know and love you than it is to market to complete strangers. And if you have a wellness program, if you have nutrition to offer, and your full patient load does not know this, that's your first place to market, okay? And your waiting room is the best place and best opportunity for you to market. Get rid of all the reading material, irrelevant reading material like People Magazine. They don't promote your practice. You have a captive audience in your waiting room. Utilize that. Also, most magazines have drug ads, and that goes counter to what you're trying to teach in your office. Okay, fill your waiting room with articles, newsletters, and reports. You can have interesting stuff to read, but it should be about health, and it should be stuff that promotes what you do. The wellness plan that we presented a few slides ago is a great beginning. Okay, automatically you can give them a handout, change their diet, give them some basic nutrition, and do very well with most of your patients. Obviously, that's not going to get everybody better. Okay, and you should think of that as a good beginning with more work to be done. Okay, some patients will continue to have problems, and you need new strategies for them. You might have food sensitivities. One way to fine-tune the wellness program is to use a basic symptom questionnaire. And at Whole Health America, we can provide one that we can put on your Facebook page and on your websites for you. Another useful tool are blood chemistries. Biotics Research can hook you up with balancing the body chemistry with nutrition people. They have a computerized blood chemistry program that reads blood chemistries to physiologic parameters so that you can utilize nutrition even in quote-unquote normal blood chemistries. Okay, so you can begin to fine-tune it from there. And again, the reason I mentioned Biotics is their people can help you. They're a very clinically savvy group of people. So, start with the basic wellness plan, but you can work from there. There's no shortage of sick people. Practices that do well are continually looking for answers for their problem patients. So like if you do a wellness program and someone doesn't respond, that's fine. That's an opportunity for you to grow as a practitioner and to impress that patient. So you can fine-tune your wellness program with something as simple as a basic questionnaire. Okay, Whole Health America has an online questionnaire that reveals 10 problem areas, and you can customize their supplement regimen based on these quiz results, and that will improve your results a bit. Are there other things you can be doing? Certainly. You can be learning about labs. There's lots of places to go from here, but think of this as the next level. The questionnaire from Whole Health America will rate 10 different areas of health as mild, moderate, or severe. The first one is digestion. Okay, so if their high scores are in digestion, they probably have a problem with the initial phase of digestion. They need either hydrochloric acid or pancreatic enzymes. We're recommending Intenzyme Forte, which is a pancreatic enzyme with meals. They need an ADP, which is short for antidysbiosis product. Beta TCP, which is a beetroot extract that helps to thin the bile, helps with biliary colic and things like that. And of course, we're going to stay with our optimally phased BioDoff multiple. Okay. Now, the doctor can substitute HCl+, but you have to be a little bit careful. Betaine plus HP or Hydrozyme and HCl+ all contain hydrochloric acid. HCl+ and Hydrozyme have a lower dose. Betaine plus HP have a higher dose. And oddly enough, people with acid reflux often respond to hydrochloric acid supplementation. Unfortunately, especially with the advent of H2 receptor blockers like Prilosec, even if you take away the Prilosec, the patient will have reflux from hell. It's very difficult if they have a lot of erosion. These drugs tend to give them a tendency toward a bacterial gastritis. So you have to be very careful. That's why Intenzyme is a safe way to go if you're not comfortable with it. Usually you have to do some sort of repair before you give hydrochloric acid, even though that's the supplement they really need. Biotics makes a product called Gastrozyme, which has a cabbage extract. You can even have them drink fresh cabbage juice. Put a little carrot in it because cabbage juice is a little hard to take. Or deglycerinated licorice, DGL, which is also in BioHPF, which is the Heliobacter formula from Biotics, and they may have Heliobacter disease. So you want to spend some time healing. Also note that if you use a DGL product, be checking their blood pressure, because in some patients, even though they remove the glycyrrhizin, which will raise blood pressure, licorice will increase blood pressure, It's like decaffeinated coffee. There's a little bit left over, and some people are really responsive to it, and their blood pressure will go up. So you got to be careful with products with DGL in it. Okay, but usually these patients, you can be healing their digestive tract with products like this while you're giving the intenzyme. Okay, with an eye towards getting them to the HCl. Some of the ways to know that if a patient has a need for HCl, they've lost the desire for meat. Not vegetarian so much for moral reasons, but meat sickens them. They don't like meat. They don't feel like eating meat. You notice older people, a lot of times they'll like sugar and they'll like starch and all that, and they won't eat much meat. You know, it kind of sits there heavy. Okay, that's a need for hydrochloric acid. Nails that break easily, gas immediately after a meal. Or on a blood chemistry, you'll see their serum protein or their albumin on the high side of normal. Not high abnormal, but on the higher side of normal. You can check the blood chemistry program or Dr. Harry Eidner's books for the numbers and levels on this. Okay. Another thing is people with allergies, hay fever, food allergies commonly need HCl. Also, people who need HCl, often they need zinc or thiamine. These are precursors for HCl production. Since we're talking about digestion, this is a good place to talk about Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. Elaine Gottschall created a model where these patients do not adequately digest complex carbohydrates. In other words, disaccharides like table sugar, starches, potatoes, breads, things like that. And her model is they don't digest it well. The carbohydrate then goes into the intestine and rots. It damages the lining, and in your small intestine, you produce enzymes as well. And as a result, you have lower enzyme production. Okay, and she created a diet called the specific carbohydrate diet that absolutely eliminates complex carbohydrate. About a third of these patients respond to it and will eventually have a full recovery. So if you have a colitis patient or a Crohn's disease patient, this is a great place to start. You have to realize it's not like medicine where, like if this doesn't do the full job, there are other approaches and you can get help with this, but this will get a lot of these patients better. The other thing is that since enzyme need is part of the problem, you can give pancreatic enzymes to people with Crohn's and colitis. Okay. The other thing to know about Crohn's patients, they're deficient in just about every nutrient there is, so they do need basic supplementation, like we suggested in our basic program. Your patients who need hydrochloric acid often have other problems. You have to realize you need hydrochloric acid to absorb essential amino acids and minerals. And very commonly, people who suffer from depression have digestive issues because tyrosine, precursor to norepinephrine, and tryptophan, the precursor to serotonin, may be in short supply. Also, they tend to be B12 deficient, which B12 deficiency also causes fatigue, forgetfulness, and depression. It's a common cause of depression in the elderly. Okay, and oddly enough, the B12 serum test is not a very good test. There are better tests like methylmalonic acid, but there's a good little screen you can do. Okay, B12 deficiency is common in the elderly. It can mimic Alzheimer's disease, and one way you can tell is you look at a complete blood count. You see an MCV greater than 90. Doctors do not call MCV abnormal until it gets past 100. But if you're between 90 and 100 and you're dealing with someone who has depression, fatigue, forgetfulness, they very well may need B12. Now, I used to think that you needed injections to build B12 stores because you need intrinsic factor, protein in the stomach to absorb B12. But in Sweden, they've done some studies, and they found that very high daily oral doses of the 2 and 3, 4, 5, even 6 milligrams a day, as opposed to the 400 micrograms that you commonly see in a multivitamin, work as well as injections and will increase the B12 levels. Also, when you're giving B12, it's a good idea to give folic acid because the two nutrients are complementary. Also, deficiency of one will mimic the deficiency of the other. taking extra of both won't hurt anybody, so it's a good idea to get your B12 with folic acid. On the questionnaire, the Whole Health America questionnaire, the number 2 situation is nutrients, and that one's easy because if they're just showing up as being generally nutrient deficient, then the basic 4 product and the anti-inflammation diet ought to do wonderfully for these patients. Another issue that will show up on the Whole Health America questionnaire is allergies. And if they score high under allergies, you can add Histoplex AB to the basic supplementation. This is a natural way to bring down histamine levels. There are a number of products like this. There's a D-Hist, there's various herb and vitamin combinations that will help bring down histamine levels for people that suffer from allergies, and some respond to others better than each patient is individual. We're mentioning the Histoplex. It's a biotic product because your biotic rep will help you with these problem patients. Okay. One thing you might notice is people that are sensitive to smoke and perfume are often deficient in molybdenum. Molybdenum is a cofactor for the enzymes that process these materials, aldehydes and ketones and so on. Okay. On a blood chemistry, you'll see a low normal uric acid level. Also, low normal uric acid may also mean a need for vitamin B12. Okay, and molybdenum is a trace mineral. And I've always, in my practice, found that if a person is low in one trace mineral, they might be low in others, and it's a good idea to give them the others because selenium and other such minerals are often very helpful to patients with allergies. In fact, if you give trace minerals and antioxidants to an allergy sufferer, you've often done them a very good service. In patients with allergies, you want to look at the scores for adrenal function and digestion also, because you might want to give support there. We'll talk about adrenal function. We already have talked about digestion. And there's a strong connection between allergies and digestion, the need for HCl, maybe candida overgrowth, and so on. So definitely address digestion. Some docs, that's the only place they deal with it. The other thing is a detoxification program, which removes the chemical burden from the body. Biotics has one called the 3-step detox. It's very helpful. Also, if the patient eats a lot of refined carbohydrate or has use of antibiotics frequently, now we're talking about bowel flora, candida, yeast, so on. And you might consider using an antifungal and a probiotic for these patients. Take a history. And if they're eating a lot of starch, a lot of sugar, they've had antibiotics, chances are you got to do something for that bowel. But I know Harry Eidner has always correctly said that you want to treat the digestive system from the north-south. So even if you're doing things for candida or bacterial overgrowth in the lower bowel, you do want to address digestion in the upper section. So they may need hydrochloric acid or pancreatic enzymes also. The fourth issue that appears in the questionnaire is the liver biliary system as a digestive organ. For that, we would add beta-TCP to the basic program. Beta-TCP is a beet extract. It helps thin the bile. Okay. If the patient is upset by greasy foods, there's fat in the stool, there's signs of being low in oil-soluble vitamins, dry cracked heels, itchy anus, dry skin, things like that, they may need bile salts. Now, you got to be a little careful with bile salts, okay? They need to be rotated. And this is beta plus if you're a biotics customer. You start by taking 1 every day with each meal for the day, 2 with the meals, the next day 3 with meals, the next day then none the 4th day, and then repeat that whole process. Okay, this because if you supply bile salts, the body goes, oh goody goody, I don't have to make them anymore. So that can be a problem. Also, you want to rule out gallstones or other pathology before giving bile salts because it can cause a biliary colic. Okay, and there are protocols that cause the elimination of gallstones. Not advisable because if you move the gallstone, it lodges in the common bile duct. Now you've got a medical emergency. You got acute pancreatitis. You got all kinds of problems. There's a protocol with lemon and olive oil, and they'll say that, oh, I passed my stones, and they actually they're creating soap in their gut, and they're passing soap, not gallstones. Gallstones are black, and also patients are impressed when you can point that out to them. The fifth issue in the Whole Health America questionnaire is liver and biliary as a detoxifier. Okay, we use MCS2. which is a phase 2 liver. It upregulates phase 2 detoxification in liver. Livertrit Plus is a liver support product, Ayurvedic formula. These are good for patients that score high in this area. You may consider the 3-step detox or some sort of detoxification regimen to unburden the liver. Okay, know what drugs they're taking. MCS2 upregulates phase 2 detoxification and may cause drugs to become less effective. So you want to kind of keep an eye on that. Other things to consider, antioxidants, NAC, selenium, MSM, sulfur is used in detoxification, and phosphatidylcholine. Number 6 is scored high in essential fatty acids. Once again, the basic nutritional program that we presented earlier with the anti-inflammation diet and the 4 products should work just fine. But take a look at liver biliary issues and see if they have problems with digesting and absorbing fats. Another thing that might be an issue, someone who scores high here, is thyroid. Thyroid gives you a tendency towards dry skin and so on. They score the number 7 thing on the Whole Health America questionnaire is low thyroid. The knee-jerk approach, if you don't know what you're doing or you want to just try to help in a general manner, you could give them Metastim from Biotics, which is a general thyroid support supplement. It addresses many of these issues, not all of them. It might be worthwhile to take some time and learn a little bit about it. Okay, most patients will come in with a TSH test, which is actually a pituitary hormone, not a thyroid hormone. It stimulates the thyroid gland. Levels are used to screen for thyroid problems. The British Medical Journal back in 2000 published research examining the flaws in this method of diagnosing hypothyroidism, saying they miss a lot of cases that way, and that seems to be the case. And thyroid is very important. There's a number of conditions that are linked to thyroid. I know the American Journal of Psychiatry published research showing that a lot of cases of depression. And you might find people on serotonin reuptake inhibitors and such that maybe need thyroid medication or thyroid nutritional support to solve their problems. We came across one research study that says that as many as 13 million Americans may be unaware of and undiagnosed for their thyroid condition. It's a very common problem. It's missed a lot. And the 13 million comes from using traditional lab values. And we find that the lab values may be inadequate. TSH, for instance, you get a level of 6 or 7, they're saying, oh, maybe you're borderline. People in natural health care are finding that if they've got symptoms in the level of 2 TSH, they may very well need thyroid support. And you will find that if you work it that way, these patients respond wonderfully and miraculously. Hypothyroidism can be linked to high cholesterol and heart disease. In fact, if you're doing a lot for your cholesterol, nothing's working, maybe take a look at the thyroid. Hypothyroidism is also linked to miscarriages, okay? And also if an expectant mother is borderline hypothyroid or hypothyroid and doesn't miscarry, her baby might have a lower IQ than normal. And this is a study published in New England Journal of Medicine. Problems losing weight, dry skin, immune system problems may all have thyroid at their root. Symptoms of hypothyroidism, unless they don't necessarily have to have all of these symptoms, but if they have a number of them and lab values that are quote unquote borderline, and even let's say a TSH higher than 2, they may feel cold when others do not. Their fatigue and lack of motivation. This is somebody who they can get through their day, they can get through work and all that. If they have nothing to do, they tend to do nothing. Poor memory, forgetfulness, loss of interest in sex, dry, itchy, scaly skin, high cholesterol, muscle cramps at rest. Also, might have a tendency to get a headache in the morning that goes away as the day goes on. They will tend to be constipated if they're taking fiber and they're eating all the vegetables and everything and they're still constipated. Thyroid may be a likely problem. The other thing to look at with chronic constipation is a need for bile salts. Okay, cysts and fibroids, sometimes a hypothyroid issue. Sadness or crying for no reason. They watch the AT&T commercial and get a little misty. Okay, puffiness under the eyes. Ankle swelling, depression, poor immune function, frequent colds, and the inability to lose weight. I diet, I don't eat anything, and I look at food and I gain weight. Take a look at the thyroid for those patients. Dr. Harry Eidner, who's a genius and has done a lot of work with blood chemistries, have come up with some nice observations in dealing with thyroid patients. Now, if a patient has all those symptoms, but they don't have a TSH greater than 2, it's lower than 2, they still may have a thyroid problem, but it might be secondary to the function of the pituitary. And you can give pituitary support, antibiotics. There's a product called Thyrostim. There's also a pituitary glandular that they use. And a number of companies make that. It's secondary hypothyroidism. Now, if they have all those symptoms or a lot of those symptoms and the TSH is greater than 2, the problem might be with the thyroid itself. The higher the value, the more likely that's the case. When TSH values are 3 or more, it's very common for a patient to have symptoms and come into the office saying, the doctor said my thyroid's fine. Most doctors won't diagnose a patient as being borderline hypothyroid until the TSH gets above 6 or 7. Now, if a patient has a T4 that's less than the middle of the lab range, they're on the lower half, and they have the symptoms and low temperature. Basal body temperature is an indication of hypothyroidism. Broda Barnes said it was the indication of hypothyroidism, but that simply isn't true because there are other things that will cause a low temperature. But if the T4 is less than the middle of the lab range, it's a good chance that the patient needs iodine and tyrosine. Now, T3, which is actually more active than T4, if that's below the middle of the range and the T4 is above the middle of the range, okay, so they're not making as much active, extremely active hormone, that's a problem with conversion. This conversion is necessary for good thyroid function, and this can be due to too much stress, too much cortisol, too much estrogen, or a lack of nutrients needed for conversion. Okay, there's also a test RT3, which can show the presence of reverse T3, which is not biologically active. That's also a stress issue. And a patient may have a very normal-looking blood test, but still have symptoms. One interesting side note is for patients who have been on Synthroid. Synthroid is T4, and they're still having symptoms. Their numbers are good, but they still can't lose weight. They still have a lot of the problems. Yeah, it's helping a little bit. And the doctor monitoring will often say things are fine. Now, this is a patient that will respond very well to Metastim. Metastim helps with conversion, okay, and will get that hormone, those hormone levels more active. The number 8 issue on the Whole Health America questionnaire is insulin insensitivity. Now, these patients, you want to give glucobalance. Glucobalance is a multiple design for insulin-insensitive patients. Beta-TCP, which is the beetroot extract liver support. Lipoic acid, interestingly enough, at a level of about 600 milligrams a day, will help bring down triglyceride levels. Okay, and that's one of the first things that go up. A lot of times, someone heading into diabetes, they'll get high triglycerides before they get high sugar. Also, if you're using the basic 4 supplements as your core, if you're giving glucobalance, you don't need to give ProMulti Plus. Okay, insulin sensitivity is a big deal. Obesity is on the rise in the United States. About 2/3 of all Americans are overweight. A person with a BMI over 25 is considered to be overweight. Over 30 is considered to be obese. BMI obviously is not a great way to measure someone who's really muscle bound, like might come off as obese and they're not. But it's a rule of thumb. It's something to work with. Okay. Between 1976 and 2002, there's been a 38% increase in the American adults who are overweight. Okay, and the number of obese Americans has doubled. Okay. There's a lot of weight issue here, and it's all built around carbohydrate consumption and insulin. And if you come up with a coherent way to do this, you can help most of your patients. Symptoms of insulin resistance include fatigue, weight gain, brain fog, carbohydrate craving, and periods of hypoglycemia after a high carbohydrate meal. They stuff themselves and then they go, I could go with something sweet right now. Or they stuff themselves and they need a nap after eating. Okay, about half of your patients with high blood pressures are insulin insensitive, okay? And about 30% of American adults are insulin insensitive, and 25% have syndrome X, or metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome is a patient that has high cholesterol, low HDL, high LDL, and high triglycerides, basically. And a lot of your patients that are taking statins, they really have a problem with carbohydrate handling. And if you deal with that with diet and things, you can get them off of their drug. Okay, the Journal of the American Medical Association states that if a patient has 3 or more of the following symptoms, metabolic syndrome or syndrome X is present. Waist measurement greater than 40 inches. How often do you see that? Or 35 inches in women. Triglycerides greater than 150 milligrams per deciliter. HDL lower than 40 milligrams per deciliter. Blood pressure greater than 135 over 85. Fasting glucose of 110 or more. Okay. This means that most people with high cholesterol should reduce sugar and starch consumption. So if you control the glycemic index with diet, getting rid of sugars and starches, and you add beta-TCP, glucobalance, and lipoic acid, you can just work wonders with these patients. Get them to lose weight. There are weight loss programs where you can focus on the carbohydrate consumption, get their numbers to be better, get their weight down. They'll feel fabulous. The number 9 issue on the Whole Health America questionnaire is adrenal. Okay, the questions do not distinguish between low adrenal function and high adrenal function. But if they have hyperfunction or high adrenal function, they're keyed up. They might not even realize there's a problem. They might have problems falling asleep. ADHS, which is adrenal support for high cholesterol, cortisol, will help lower cortisol. This are people that are under stress but are handling it. Adrenal hypofunction, if you remember Selye's triad, they function, and then things start going wrong. Stress is prolonged. The patient is beginning to have problems. Their immune system, they fall asleep easily but may wake up in the middle of the night. Often have problems like fatigue, pain, especially back or knee pain, immune system issues, frequent colds, light bothers them. They get bright light. They've got their sunglasses on when they come into the office. ABD5 is a glandular and vitamin support for people with adrenal problems that are hypofunction. Adrenal issues that'll show up during an exam, the Raglan test, of course. Blood pressure drops. The patient goes from supine to standing. And if you get like a 20-point, the higher the drop, the bigger the issue is, okay? You'll see tenderness at the ilioinguinal ligament, pes anserine. Medial knee will be sore. If you're into applied kinesiology, sartorius, gracilis, gastrocnemius will be weak. On a blood chemistry, you'll see low normal sodium and high normal potassium. And rebound pupil, shine a light in their eye, and the pupil will constrict, and then it'll open up a little bit, kind of bounce a bit. Okay, that's a sign of a need for adrenal support. The number 10 thing that shows up on the questionnaire is a need for immune support. Okay, there's a number of products: bioimmunozyme forte, vitamin C, arabinogalactan power IAG, dysmuzyme granules, or vitamin A. There's just a number of things you can support immune with. Wellness care is not the only turnkey program available to you. Some patients are a little sicker. We like the 3-step detox for that. These are especially good for chronically ill people that need more help than is offered by simple wellness care. This is great for people with allergies and sinus problems, fatigue, fibromyalgia, severe digestive issues. The person who's just plain sick. And realize that there's no shortage of sick people. Practices that do well are continually looking for answers for their problem patients. And one easy thing you can do is the 3-step detox. Contact your biotics representative. They've got all kinds of support materials for this. And at Whole Health America, we have a free marketing book. It'll take you step by step on how to market this. Okay, if you have a practice that, I'd like to get my income up. This is simple, proven marketing methods that will work. You can go to Whole Health America or Facebook.com/Whole Health America. We'll make this available on our Facebook page, and you can download it from there. Internal marketing is one of the best ways to promote your practice and to grow these new kinds of programs. This is a sample of a poster. This is customizable. It's in Word. You can go to Office Depot, print them up very cheaply. If you have other businesses that you share marketing materials with, called co-op, you can put that in their office and really grow a detox thing. This is for Whole Health America clients. We're happy to get these to you. Another good turnkey program is weight loss. If you don't have an effective weight loss program, you can contact me, Dr. Varnes, or Dr. Greg Peterson. We can set you up with one. And then you want to go ahead and market that. And market it within your office. How many of your patients, back patients or whatever else you're treating musculoskeletally, can you stand to lose weight? Get a coherent weight loss program and promote it within the office first. Now, if you're in Minnesota, Dr. Greg Peterson, look at all those letters, got more letters after his name than his whole name, has an extensive background in functional medicine and the kinds of things we're talking about. Now, we've just touched the tip of the iceberg. A lot of your patients will get better, but you will have problem patients, and he's there for you. We've got his phone number and we've got his email address. Take a look and jot that down. You start working with things like food sensitivity, digestion, blood chemistries, a very reasonably priced blood chemistry computer program that will help you come up with nutritional solutions for your patients. It's a wonderful resource for you. Please utilize him. I'll also be willing to make myself available. I'm Dr. Paul Varnes, and if you're not in Minnesota, obviously you probably still might need some help. You can email me at onearborvitae@comcast.net. That's my personal email. Go to facebook.com/Whole Health America. The marketing books that we're telling you about are available there. You can also reach me by phone. There's my phone number. But please, 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 if you're not doing at least some level of nutrition in your practice, get started, because I see natural health care as taking the place of the crumbling system. I mean, with Obama, forget about the politics of Obamacare. It's going to present problems with people getting help, and you're the doc that's going to make the difference for all the people that aren't getting help, because they did not address health care. They addressed how insurance pays for the garbage they're getting now. And as the doctors and hospitals become more burdened, some of the Medicare rules might actually put hospitals out of business. People are going to be turning to you. And once again, we use that indigestion number. 23% with a chiropractic adjustment. You add a little nutrition to that, you're close to 100%. And that's true for a lot of health issues. And if you start with something basic like wellness care and just grow from there, you'll become the person that people go to with their health problems. I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about marketing, because if you don't have that functional medicine practice where people turn to you yet, you have to start by marketing. You have to prime the pump, so to speak. Shouldn't have to market for decades and decades, but you do want to get things going. And how do you communicate your new nutritional skill? With marketing. And marketing does two things. It fulfills a desire. It solves a problem. Okay. Branding just lets them know who you are. Okay. Putting out things with your logo, getting your logo out there. That works for Coca-Cola and McDonald's. It does not work for small healthcare offices. And I read a statistic that concerned me. 80% of practices are struggling, yet the strategies they employ to get more business are often inexpensive and ineffective. And you've been lied to, chiropractors especially. You got like Master Circle and things like that. They want to turn you into a salesperson. Okay, get them up for the big case. You should make $3,000 off that backache, and you got to sit them down, and you use your consultation as a sales thing. People are hip to that now. Your area of expertise is healing, and the better you get at healing, people send people to you. There's nothing wrong with getting somebody better in 1 or 2 visits, because that person is excited and they're talking about you, okay? And you have to realize that marketing is a science. In many ways, it's much more scientific than healthcare. And marketing always begins in the waiting room. Like if you have a wellness plan like we're talking about, this poster is available from Whole Health America. You can customize it to yourself, put it in other places, but you want it in your waiting room. Okay, you want to send people to your Facebook page, to your website, to take the health assessment. You can even offer a free, like we'll sit down and go over that with you. If you want to do a free consult. If you don't, that's okay too. But you want to place copies of that throughout your waiting room, and then we have a wellness report that we can give you. We've got the diet that best to have them download the diet off of Facebook. You want to get your current patients going to Facebook, okay? And you want to have material promoting wellness in the waiting room because that's where your captive audience is. Similarly, you want newsletters in your office. This is a copy of our wellness newsletter from Whole Health America. We provide you 12 newsletters a year. They're themed. They have an offer. They educate your patients. Another thing about newsletters, it enables you to make direct offers without selling, and they can read about issues that they're going to ask you, okay? Not like the Master Circle where you got to tell them what they've got to do. They're going to ask you, oh, I didn't know you treated asthma. I didn't know you treated hay fever. I didn't know it starts the conversation, and the conversation starts from what they read in your waiting room. Or, for that matter, if you do a co-op is when you find another business that's not in direct competition with you, and say something basically like, I'll put your advertising material in my waiting room if you put my advertising material in your place of business. And newsletters are especially good for that because people throw away flyers, they keep newsletters. Special reports, similar to a newsletter, it'll go into great detail. We've got one on wellness, so we've got the diet. States the problem and provides a solution. And there's always an offer in these for you. We customize these at Whole Health America for you. Quizzes and assessments. Biotics is working on an app where you can go on your iPad and do a questionnaire right in the office, which is a great tool. We have paper handout ones where they fill it out by paper for your low-tech people. And Whole Health America will put the questionnaire and assessment on your website or on your Facebook page. Once again, this starts the conversation about different symptoms, and people love to take quizzes. Look at Cosmopolitan magazine. They have a quiz every issue. People love this stuff, and it creates the conversation without you making a sale. Another book, this is going to be available from Dr. Greg Peterson and from myself at Whole Health America, facebook.com/Whole Health America. One of the problems that we always run into is docs will say, yeah, I made nutritional recommendation and they found the product cheaper at Walmart or something like that. We've got this report. It should go in your waiting room. It should go on your Facebook page. You should make it available to people that explains the difference between a good supplement and a bad supplement, about label claims, about bioavailability, all of these things. And, like you look at something like ice cream, okay, cheap ice cream does not taste as good as Haagen-Dazs. And you're only talking about flavor. When you're talking about other biochemical function, doesn't it make sense that a cheaper product will not work as good as a good product? This booklet, it's a short 6-page report that will explain that to your patients, and you should have this in your waiting room. And you can get this through us. Once again, facebook.com/Whole Health America, or from Dr. Greg Peterson. You had his contact information earlier. And a lot of the marketing information that we presented is in this marketing wellness book. Okay, we got the marketing detox, marketing wellness. They're amazingly similar. Once you realize what's involved, you can market anything. You can market thyroid. You can market weight loss. It's a pattern. And these are free, okay? Once again, from Dr. Greg Peterson or from Whole Health America on Facebook. I'd like to make one final point on marketing. All your marketing works together. Stuff that you put in the office, stuff that you put online, stuff that you put on Facebook, should all work together, and you're creating a conversation about you and your services. Give us a call at Whole Health America. We can help you with this. I'm Dr. Paul Varnes, and thank you for listening. Actually, let me take a minute and make this one little point. Docs tend to think of marketing or growing their practice as getting in new people, okay? But like, do the math. If you put together a plan that has existing patients getting 3 supplements at an average of $60 per month, what does 25 people doing that do to your income? Okay, and how many new patients would you have to add for a comparable increase? So basically, prepare your waiting room with wellness care, and eventually, as you get used to it, you can do other turnkey things. Send out your newsletter, print your newsletter, have it in other businesses, co-op with your newsletter, have these reports available on a singular theme, and make an offer. Okay, make your newsletter and your reports available on Facebook. Facebook is free marketing. Okay, it's a referral network on steroids. We've done other material on Facebook. You should be recruiting your existing patients to like you on Facebook and to have things for them to download on Facebook. Okay, and when you do set up a marketing program and you do want outsiders, remember the rule of 5. In other words, someone has to see something 5 times before they realize it, before it sinks in. And here's a slide on the rule of 5. You want to do it dirt cheap and free. Okay, co-op we mentioned. Different chambers of commerce will have a welcome package for new residents. You can use your newsletter in there. Put copies of your offer on bulletin boards. Your sign in front of your office. Obviously, your Facebook page and your website. Facebook ads are a very interesting thing. You can target your zip code. Target an age group, and with Whole Health America, we create landing pages for you for people to download these reports. But for external marketing, you do want to follow the rule of 5. And some of the material we provide you with at Whole Health America are landing pages for different conditions. This is the one for wellness. Basically, a landing page, a person can do one of 2 things. They can opt in or they can leave. They leave their name and email address, they get a free report, or not. Okay. This is a way to build your list. We customize your Facebook page. We put landing pages on it. We post for you. We include custom tabs on your Facebook page. You can even put all the website information that you have on your Facebook page. And well, obviously, most people are liking the having the free reports and the landing pages. The diet report, I like to send my patients to Facebook to get it, because then while they're there, they can like the page, and then their friends and family start to see my posts. The health quiz, Whole Health America will put a health quiz up for you on your website and on your Facebook page. Custom newsletters, condition-based, you get 12 a year. And as we develop marketing material, we make these things available. These posters that you've seen, we have, you can customize them for your office. And we're running a webinar special, includes a website, includes a Facebook page, includes the, everything that we've mentioned. And it's only $67 a month. We waive the $1,500 setup fee, and normally this is $99 a month. And we'll lock you in for as long as you're a member. So you can go to wholehealthus.com and get started. And if you have any questions about marketing or about Whole Health America, contact me, Dr. Paul G. Varnes, 1arborvitae@comcast.net. My phone number is 773-519-0007. And please visit us at facebook.com/Whole Health America.